Good afternoon. I was going to say good evening, but good afternoon, everybody. Hope you are having a marvellous day. It is the 1st of August. So whatever, depending on what part of the world you're in. Hiya, Mary. It will depend on what season you believe it is. We have this long running argument with my boys over whether it's the summer or it's autumn. And my good friend Grania cleared it up that in Ireland we work off the Celtic calendar. So we are actually in autumn today. So no matter where you are, it is the 1st of August. I hope you are all having a lovely day. The sun is shining in Dublin. It never happens. We've got 3 good days together, so it's exciting. Fun times, good times are here. So what I am doing my live today is on something that comes up for everyone, not just the clients I work with, but everybody. The women I'm my friends, my family, people I meet. Everybody's in a hurry. Everybody's rushing. I'll hear lots of comments like, oh, there's just not enough hours in the day. Where does the time go? Time is flying. Can't believe it's this time already. Where is the time going? So there's this general consensus that there's not enough time. And I hear this from so many women that I work with where they're just saying, oh, there's just not enough hours in the day. I just simply cannot fit in everything that I need to do or that I get to do for the family and my job, and then have some time to do the things that I really want to do. Whether that's, making time for yourself, getting bits done around the house, following up with a phone call, there just doesn't seem to be enough hours in the day for so many people, okay? And I am going to spill the tea on this today because for me, I was that person. I was that person who just went, go, busy. And then at the end of the day, I'd feel frustrated. I'd be resentful. I'd be angry probably to a point. But resentment was a huge thing because I'd be like, I have been so busy all day and no matter how hard I try, I never seem to have time for the things I want to do. This is so unfair. And I would go into this, it's not fair. It's just so hard. Why are things so hard? Why can't I find the time? All the inner talk, all that would happen for me. And I guess what I have come to realize in my infinite wisdom as I've gotten older is that you get to choose how you spend your time. And if you are coming to the end of the day and if you are sitting there getting frustrated and annoyed and resentful that you haven't had the time that day to do the things you want to do, the reason is it's because you are not prioritizing the things that you want to do yourself over pleasing everybody else, doing everything else, completing all the other tasks, running around, trying to get it all done. If you don't have the time in the day to do the things that you want to do, it means that you are not prioritizing the things that you want to do. And it is that simple. And that might sound a bit like, oh, well, how would you know? It's just so busy. You don't understand the pressure I'm under. No, I do. I completely do. I completely understand. And I get it. I know how much pressure women are under to do so many things. We're juggling so many balls and we're just trying not to let them all fall. And then by the end of the day, we're getting frustrated and angry and resentful because we haven't had the time to do the things that we really, really want to do. And really, lads, I hate to break it to you, but it is a leadership issue. It is you not being the leader of your life, not making decisions that are aligned. Hang on, sorry, it's a noise. Not making decisions that are aligned with what is important to you. Not prioritizing your time so that you make time for yourself. I heard a really, really good, a saying that really struck me recently. And it's, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. And that for me really struck me because if it's meant to be, it will be was a saying that I would have always said. And I would have had the belief that if it was meant to be, it will come. And yes, it will come. But at the same time, you have to make the strides yourself to take action. So if you're not prioritizing yourself and you're not putting yourself on that to-do list, that's the reason that you feel that there's not enough hours in the day because you're not making that time. You're not carving out pockets of time for you. That's the secret. That's what's in the gap. It's you not prioritizing yourself. and getting yourself on that list. And even if it means not doing something else, even if it means not being able to support someone or not being able to help someone or not being able to do something for somebody that you wanted to do, when you're prioritizing yourself and you're valuing your needs over someone else or over the other people in your lives to a point, that's where the challenges are going to arise. So for me, when I was working full time, I worked 9 to 5. I was collecting the kids on my lunch. I was coming home then, getting them out to jujitsu, trying to make a dinner, trying to fold the clothes and do the laundry and do a bit of cleaning. And it would come to the end of the day and I would be absolutely exhausted and I would be frustrated and I would be angry because I'd be saying, I really wanted to get out for a walk today. Or I really wanted to do this today, or I really wanted to phone my friend today, and I haven't had the time, and it's so unfair, and I'm working so hard, and I'm so busy, and there's no time for me. And really, when I look back, there was time for me. It was just I was choosing something else. I was choosing to put on a wash instead of maybe taking 5 minutes to just be. I was choosing to clean the apartment, maybe when it didn't need to be done, instead of getting out for a walk. And here's one I think probably a lot of us are guilty of. I was choosing to sit down and scroll on my phone for a half an hour or an hour even, when I could have been going out and doing something for myself or doing something that I really, really wanted to do or was aligned with what I needed to do or whatever. So if you're not putting yourself on the list and you're not making yourself a priority, then how do you expect to have time for yourself? Life is so hectic. Things are so busy at the moment. There is so much noise coming from everywhere. There is so much responsibilities and so many to-do lists. We get so caught up in the doing. We forget to just be. But it's only when we just sit back and we just relax and we just sit with ourselves and we just be that we get some clarity, that we can connect with our intuition, that we can see past what we think is possible, or that we can get off that autopilot, just go mentality. Like, have you ever gotten to work and then been like, I don't actually remember that drive. Like, I know I got here and I did all the right things and I used the indicator and I did all the right things, but I don't actually remember the journey. That's because you're on autopilot. And so many of us are living all of our lives on autopilot. And we're just like almost robotic in that we're just doing things without thinking, without reflecting, without, stepping off the hamster wheel or breaking the pattern. And when you make time for yourself, that's you disrupting that pattern. And I talked about it yesterday, being the catalyst. Like, what is the catalyst for change? And for a lot of people, it's accountability. But to create a catalyst for proper change in your life, it's about disrupting the pattern. And when you disrupt the pattern, when you break the cycle and you break the norm, that's where you can start creating new pathways and new ways of being and new habits and new cycles. But at the end of the day, you have to do it. You have to prioritize yourself and feel worthy and value yourself enough to put yourself on that list, to prioritize yourself, to disrupt the pattern, to get it out of the drift and to start prioritizing yourself. And I know that feels so uncomfortable for so many of us because we've been conditioned to in our whole lives to be good girls, to do as we're told, to put everyone ahead of ourselves, to do what needs to be done. And then if there's anything left over, maybe you might have some time for yourselves. And maybe we saw our own mothers do it. But the world that our parents were parenting in is very, very, very different to the world that we are parenting in. So if you might have saw your mother going and never taking a break, trust me, the world she lived in was far slower. It was far less chaotic. It was far less negative. But we base our ways of being on what we witnessed growing up and what we were conditioned to believe growing up. So we were all conditioned to be like good little girls, and you're a good little girl and you do what you're told, and you know, that's what you do, and you suck it up. You suck it up and get on with it. But now as adults, we are now adults who don't know how to slow down. We don't know how to prioritize ourselves because we've never been taught. So if you think about making time for yourself and think about in terms of being a parent, that you're creating the pathways for your children to witness. So if you're going all the time, that's what your children believe to be the norm. So what's going to happen is they're going to grow up into adults who go, 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 go all the time. And we don't want that for our children. Well, I don't anyway. I don't want my children to have to live and to have to struggle with the ways of being that I've had to struggle with over the years. And that's why I make a conscious effort to model to my children how I want to get them, that they get to live when they're older. And that is all about prioritizing your needs. Because I just don't think historically it has been something that we were taught or told, or that it was validated or accepted, that you matter. And you are worthy of time and energy and space. Let that sink in. You're worthy of time and energy and space. It is okay to be selfish sometimes. Because actually, in being what you might perceive as being selfish is actually being selfless. Because if you are feeling that way, that there's not enough hours in the day and you never have any time for yourself and you never have time to do the things, there's a ripple effect of that, because that energy is coming off you and your friends and your family, and they're absorbing that energy, whether it be negativity, resentment, anger, frustration. So there's a ripple effect of you thinking that you're being selfless by putting everyone else's needs ahead of yourself, when actually it's quite selfish, because your family, your friends, your children receive that energy from you when you are not getting the time to yourselves. So when I talk about making time for yourself and prioritizing your needs, and a lot of the resistance I get from people that I talk to is like, oh no, sure, like how would I get it all done? You'll get it all done. You'll get it all done. And you know what it comes down to? One very simple practice that you can incorporate into your day, into your week. And that's a daily, I suppose, I don't like planning because it sounds a little bit rigid, and I don't like rigid, but like planning your day. So with the way I look at it, and when I'm working with clients, so I support women who want to discover their purpose and reignite that spark so they get to live boldly and authentically and on their own terms. I am all about living on your own terms. Fuck this fitting into a box that we have been sold that is supposed to be the way women live or the way mothers are, and we do this and we do that. I'm over it. I'm so over it. Live your life your way. Don't let anyone tell you what's right or wrong. You live your life your way and everything will work out. I promise. That's just how it is. But what I was going to say was, if you're the type of person who has been in this cycle of busyness and going and then frustration and then getting annoyed and all that kind of thing, it's not something you can just click your fingers and go, oh, so tomorrow I'm just going to start prioritizing myself and I'm going to go out for an hour. It's like, look, realistically, you might do it for a few days, but if you try and extend yourself to something that's not realistic, you won't stick to it. So it's like when you're trying to create any new habit. This is what I was going to say. When I'm working with my clients and I am supporting them to create new ways of living, new ways of being, we start really small to create new habits. And once you decide on the new habit and you commit to yourself, it's just about repetition, discipline, repetition and discipline, and then a little dash of commitment. Because if you start repeating the same behaviours over again, suddenly you don't even have to do them without thinking. And then that just becomes your new default. That becomes your new autopilot. So when I'm working with my clients around making that time for themselves, the first thing we do is plan. So it's a daily plan. And I mean, yeah, it means getting up a little bit earlier. Sacrifices that you have to make. And if it's making time for yourself, then getting up even 5 minutes earlier just to start with, to create a little plan for your day, can have a massive impact on your life, on your day, and then in turn on the people who are around you, who are absorbing that energy from you. So if you can get up in the morning and make that time to just go, okay, right, well, look, what are the 3 top priorities for the day? Number 1 is time for me. Like, until that becomes a habit and second nature, you have to put it to the top of the list and be really intentional that you're making your time for yourself. And then whatever the other 2 thing in your day. And then you look down your day, you look and you kind, I'm not sure what I'm looking at, but when you're planning your day, you kind of think, okay, well, where have I got a gap today where I can do something for myself? And you look, okay, well, look, I've got nothing after work, so I can get a walk in after work. You communicate that to whoever needs to know. Say to your husband, you're up 7:00. I'm going for a walk. End of. Don't make any plans. Be there. You get to delegate. You get to make it work on your terms. Instead of, it's not going to work. I can't. Make it work. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. So you get to make it work. You get to create that space for yourself by committing to it, by repeating it, and by being disciplined every single day until it becomes your new normal. So if you get up every morning and make a little plan for how you're going to do what your priorities are, and then how you're going to fit them into your day. And like I said, make yourself a priority. You are worthy of being top of the list. You're worthy of being top of the list. You might not always feel like it. It might feel really uncomfortable. You might feel like you're being selfish. But you, my dear, are worthy of being on the top of the list. So put yourself on the top of the list. And then look down the day, right, where can I get time? Then you might think, oh, okay, after work, there's something on, the kids have training, blah, 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 blah. It's not going to fit in there. I'm not going to set myself up for failure by trying to fit something in that's not realistic. But hang on. I'm on lunch. Instead of sitting in the office talking shite or flicking on my phone or whatever, I'm going to go and do a lap. I'm going to get out for 20 minutes in the sun with my headphones on. Like, there's always time. And I know there might be people who are resistant to this, but get up earlier. Like, there is time if you're willing to take a step back and look. And this is, I suppose, this is the whole thing about being stuck in the cycle of business, because you don't even realise the days, the weeks, the months or years are flying by. They're flying by. Your life is just going whoosh. So to disrupt the pattern so that you can create a new pattern, it takes commitment, and it takes you believing that you deserve it and believing that you are worth it. So when you stand up and you disrupt that drift and you become the catalyst for change by making a plan to prioritize your time. And when you prioritize your time for a few weeks, you might feel the benefit of it. And then you might go, actually, hang on, this is working. I feel much happier. I'm more content. I'm more tolerant. I'm more patient. I'm in a better mood. I'm sleeping better. I feel happier. Like, this is what we want. These are the things all of us want. And they are completely attainable for every single one of us once you disrupt the pattern that you're in already. Because at the end of the day, you can never have different results if you continue doing the same thing. So it is up to you to prioritize yourself. Put yourself on the top of the list and say, I'm worthy of being at the top of the list. I deserve top spot. The ripple effect for not just you, your health, your well-being, the ripple effect for everyone around you is massive. But it's about you making that commitment to yourself and prioritizing yourself. And if that is something, and this is what happens with a lot of my clients, is when we start to do this work, they meet a lot of resistance from themselves. And that's when we have to go deeper and try and figure out what's under that. What's under the lack of self-belief? What's under the lack of prioritizing yourself? Hello, Birdie. Like, what is underneath that? Because if you struggle to prioritize yourself, and if you don't feel worthy of time, energy and space, you get to kind of look underneath that and say, where is that belief coming from that I'm not worthy of this time or this space or this energy? And a lot of times it comes from, like I said, that conditioning that we were all exposed to as children, where we had to just go, 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 and you had to do as you're told and be a good little girl and be quiet and don't make a fuss and just get on with it and don't be crying, and, you know, and that has created a lot of adults who don't feel worthy. And then in turn, that manifests as people pleasers. So like, if you look at everything that all your traits and your personality traits that you display, they can all be tracked back to something that in your early years that has created that belief that you now believe to be true as an adult. So when I'm working with my clients, we always look at the two-prong approach. And one of them is like the very tangible things, like I said, about getting up early and having a little plan for your day and prioritizing you at the top of the list and breaking that cycle that you're in, disrupting the pattern of stress and overwhelm and busyness and all that stuff. If you disrupt that, you can start to create new habits, new ways of being. And that's one element of the work I do. And then the other element is getting to the root of the belief that is stopping you doing it, or that has stopped you prioritizing yourself up to now. And like I said, a lot of times it comes back to experiences in early life. And I don't mean like big traumatic experience. And I don't mean people, this is just normal. Like our way of being reared as children wasn't necessarily what was needed for us as adults. So now as adults, we get to track back and say, okay, well, what happened in my early life that created a belief inside me that I'm not worthy to go to the top of the list, or that my needs don't matter as much as everybody else? Where did that belief come from? Where was the first time in my life where I felt that my needs didn't matter, or my time, I wasn't worth it? Where was that? When was that? And then what I do when I'm working with people is we go back and we go, okay, well, look, what does that 6-year-old little girl who feels like that, what does she need to hear? Is that true? As an adult, 40-something, with a career and children, a family, a husband, all that, are you not worthy to go to the top of the list? And obviously people say, well, of course I am. Of course I'm worthy. So it's like retraining these beliefs, because what's under every behaviour is probably a fear or an insecurity or something, a belief, a conditioned belief from your early life. But when you actually do the work and you sit, and it's not about making anybody wrong, not about like bashing your family or anything like that. That's not my jam at all. But it is about just going back and going like, well, that's really interesting. That's really interesting because that is where that came from. And a lot of people would have a lot of money beliefs, money blocks about hard work. Like money doesn't grow on trees. So suddenly people have this belief that like you have to work really, really hard for your money. And I'm not saying you don't, but I'm saying there's a lot of people who attract a lot of money without necessarily having to do the work because they understand, or they don't have the money blocks. So when you are shaped by beliefs, well, we are all shaped by beliefs from our early life. And now as adults, these are the beliefs that are stopping us being our authentic true selves, reaching our full potential, putting ourselves first, making time for ourselves, saying no. Saying no is really hard for a lot of people. And they all come from beliefs that were derived when we were really, really young. So when you're looking at changing these beliefs, you have to do the tangible stuff. You have to create new habits, repeat them, be disciplined, be consistent and all that. But also to stop yourself going back into that cycle, because that's an awful lot of time what happens. Life happens and people go back into what's familiar. You have to go back and connect the dots from your past to your present and reframe it and challenge those beliefs. And then you get to own it and go, do you know what? That's a belief that I put a meaning on as a child. I am now an adult and that meaning does not ring true to me now. So I get to shift it. I get to change that belief and I get to have a new perspective and move forward. So that is all like the reason that people struggle to prioritize themselves and to have enough time in the day is because they don't know how to prioritize their needs, because we've never been shown and we were never told that it was important to prioritize our needs or to feel worthy. So there's a lot of work that goes into creating new beliefs and creating new habits. But if you start small and build on it, and I always say it takes like I'm 42, so it's taken me 42 years to be the way I am. I'm not going to change overnight. I'm not going to change in a week or a month. It's going to take time. It's going to take repetition and it's going to take consistency. So start small. Get up 5 minutes earlier in the morning. Make a plan for your day. Write your priorities on the top of a piece of paper, 1, 2, 3. And on the very top of that list, put me. Because as Jennifer Aniston said, I'm worth it. Genuinely. No, but do you know what I mean? Like me, I'm on the top of the list. Right, okay. You're looking down through your day, right? What's the day like today? Where do I get to make time for myself? Okay, 7 o'clock this evening, I'm going for a walk. Communicate that to whoever you need to. Look for support. Outsource. Say to your husband, you better be home by 7. I'm going for a walk. End of. And you go. You commit to that time. And then the next day, you keep doing it. And every single day you do it. You commit to yourself consistently, frequently, and repeat the pattern until it's just the norm. You get home from work or wherever you are, 7 o'clock, you put your shoes on, your husband says, see you in an hour, enjoy your walk. That's the goal. That's what you want. You want it to just be the way it is, and you want it just to be normal, and it's just to become your way of being. But you have to do it. You have to do the work. You have to commit to yourself, and you have to prioritize your needs, because you are worth it. You're worthy to take up time and space and energy. And you don't have to sacrifice you, being well, being healthy, being happy to be a perfect parent. Because I think, and this is from my own experience, I believed that this is what good parents did. I believe that this is what made me a good mother, was sacrificing myself as such. I believe that in order to, that this was just part of the deal. This is just part of the deal. You have kids and you're a worker, you work and you don't have time for yourself. Is that not the way? I was so wrong. I was so very wrong. And it wasn't until I did the work on myself and I got underneath and I realised where the unworthiness came from and where the conditioning had impacted me. And I got to shift it and I got to change it. And now I go out unapologetically. I don't get phone calls. I don't get anything, because my family know that they're going to benefit from me being more patient, more tolerant, more happier, more calm. In fact, sometimes my husband actually says, Aunt, I actually think you need to go for a run. You're always in much better form when you go. So like, even they see it, that when I prioritize myself, I am in a better headspace. So start small, make a plan, carve out the time for you by putting yourself at the top of the list. Start small, build a muscle. It's like anything, it's something new. Start small and build on it slowly but surely. But be consistent, be committed, and stick to it until it just becomes your new normal, because you can do it. So next time you're sitting down at the end of the day and you're saying, oh, for fuck's sake, not enough hours in the day, I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. Just stop yourself and go, hey, hang on, actually, let me just have a look at how today went. Was there a pocket of time today where I could have made time for myself, so that tomorrow I'm going to commit to making that time for myself? Don't just sit there and accept the shitty circumstances and then get angry and resentful. Do something about it. Think to yourself, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. So you get to choose, you get to commit, and you get to take action. And I would love to hear if you start doing that. I'd love to hear how you get on. I'd love to hear, did this land with you today? Was there anything that really struck you? And I'd love to hear, if you start making them pockets of time, how you're getting on. How is it going for you? If you're struggling and you want to look for my support and you just want to know where to even start, reach out, send me a message, send me a DM. I'd be happy to have a chat. So I would love to hear how you enjoyed this live, and if there's anything that you're going to take from this that you're going to start implementing tomorrow, just do it. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for when I'll do it when the kids go back. That's bullshit. That's just an excuse. Do it tomorrow. Wake up in the morning, set your alarm 5 minutes earlier, have a pen and a piece of paper, make your coffee, and make your plan for the day. And then decide and commit to when you're going to make that time for yourself, and then do it. And at the end of the day, look back. Well, how did that go? Did that work out? What could have I done? What could I have done better? What could have gone better? What could have gone worse? Where can I get support? And then the next day you go again, and you go again until it just becomes the norm, your new normal. And then you get to feel worthy and you get to feel accomplished, but you also get to feel calm and happy, and your kids are watching. Remember, they are a sponge. Your children are a sponge for you. So they're watching. So be the role model that they need in their life. Be the role model that they want to see. Be that person for them and show them the way we weren't shown, that their needs matter and that it's okay to prioritize themselves. Okay? And on that note, thank you so much and have a lovely day.